channel, or welcome back to my channel. We are in my dining room. This is not normally a place that I film, but I think I'm gonna do some sewing in here today. And I cleared off the table. I'm gonna clear off this stuff. It's just gonna give me a big workspace compared to my office and the desks I have in there. I just don't have any space this big. I also like it in here because we have a lot of windows, and in my office I just have one window, so it doesn't get a ton of natural light. And so even though I have this light on, I still have all these windows where I can just kind of see the outdoors. And I spend a lot of time in my office for work anyway, so sometimes I want a break from that room. So we're gonna be doing this in here today. I think I'm gonna need to bring an extension cord in here though. This also is an outdoor table, by the way. So that's why there is a hole in the middle, because this one is made to have an umbrella. So what we're gonna try and make today is a quilted jacket from an old quilt that I have. The quilt I actually thrifted, and I'm really excited about it to try it. I cut out the pattern, but I haven't put the pattern together. Like, I cut out the squares and I have to actually put them together. I printed this pattern a long time ago. I'm looking at the lines and I'm a little bit worried that I did the wrong size. The small is supposed to be red and these dotted lines are purple. And I think that's where maybe, did I print the extra small? Oh, I think I printed the extra small. That makes more sense. Okay, we are back in business. I know that I'm crazy, but I was like, I'm not that crazy. And this makes more sense too, because the lines are thicker for the extra small. Like I said, this is my first time doing this pattern. I don't know why I thought I had a small. So this pattern is from Rosie Patterns from Etsy. It has great reviews, and a lot of people said that the pattern is easy to adopt, and I want to change it. There are two panels that make the front side. So you have a top panel and a bottom panel, and I just want one full panel because I want it to look somewhat similar to the Free People one. I'm just going to try and adopt it myself. We're gonna see how that goes. But now I'm just gonna tape everything together and try and get it as straight as I can. I'm putting on some YouTube to watch, and we are going to speed through this. Everything out, and I have it sitting right here. I want to show some modifications I made to make it a little bit. I think it's going to be easier for me. I just think this is going to work out a little bit better. So I ended up, it was called for these to be two different pieces. I just ended up adding them together because I think like the second step in sewing is just sewing them together and then adding bias tape. So I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and have this as one piece. So this is the back actually. I'm going to show the quilt. So this quilt I got from a thrift store a couple months back, and I didn't realize when I got it that it had this on one side, so it's really pretty. This is just a print. It does look like it's quilt squares, but it's just a print, so I'm sure this is just from like some store, like, you know, like a Pottery Barn or something. But I'm going to be using like this green side because the whole back side is just this green, and I think it's going to make a really cute jacket with this green. It's like exactly what I was looking for as far as fabric. Come here. You're not supposed to be on here. Okay, I'm thinking I need to go to the living room and lay this out so I have a big space. So we're gonna do that instead. I think I'm going to cut the pieces kind of one by one. I just think it's gonna be easier for me than having to worry that if I fold it, it's lined up, and that way I can like actually have peace of mind that I'm cutting the right pieces. It makes sense in my head, but this is what the fabric looks like. I think it's gonna make the prettiest jacket. Okay, so I have my pattern laid out, and I was trying to make it make the most sense. There's this one random weird kind of like seam that I'm trying to avoid. So this is what we're looking like, and you know, I have to cut two of everything except for the collar. It will take up about that much, and I'll still have, I would say, half the quilt to do something else with. I guess I need to, okay. That's not why I have this here. I don't know if I showed this fully, but this is what it looks like all stretched out. It's a beautiful quilt. I love it so much. But I just think I could bring it some new life by making it into a jacket, and I'm really excited about it. So what I decided is I turned it this side so that way I can plan a little bit better for the pieces and try to make, I guess the inside of that one doesn't really matter, but I'm gonna try and make the inside of it be this material. So I've been cutting away. It has taken me a while just to kind of like visualize and figure out what I'm doing. And so I've got both pockets, both cuffs, I've got the collar, I've got both back panels. So now all that's left is the second front panel. So I have this front panel cut out, and then I just need to cut out the 2 sleeves. So just 3 pieces left. But I think I'm gonna take a little bit of a break because my back is hurting me a little bit. It was hurting me a little bit earlier, and I kind of just want to chill for a second, just sit on the couch and not do anything. But while it's already laid out, I am gonna go ahead and finish it. But I was just like, let me just sit on the couch for like 20 minutes and relax. But I did want to update and just show what I've done so far. But yeah, this is always the hardest part of any sewing project, is cutting out the fabric is normally the hardest part, especially when it's a big project. But I love this fabric so much. I'm just kind of blabbing now. So I am going to check in probably once I have all my pieces cut out. I'm not starting to sew today. I'm definitely gonna sew tomorrow, but I will see you later. It is the next day. Hopefully you can hear me because the vacuum, like the robot vacuum, is going behind us. But I cut out all my pieces last night, and I didn't end up using the rotary cutter because I just pinned the pattern onto the actual fabric and then I cut around it that way just with scissors. It allowed me to be a little bit more careful, especially because there's so many like curves and I was worried about messing up with the rotary cutter. But I have, I believe these are the back pieces. So on one side it's like this, which will be the inside, like the lining. And then this is what it will look like on the outside. And I did end up just doing one big panel to hopefully save on some bias tape. So hopefully that ends up, you know, working out okay. And then these should be the sleeves. This is going to be one sleeve. I did go ahead and do the cuffs. I thought about just making the sleeves long, but I like the look of kind of like a separate cuff with the bias tape. So I did go ahead and cut those. And then this is the collar. And then we have the pockets, which I believe the first step is to sew the pockets. So we're gonna work on that. This is the bias tape that I got. It's just the color green from Wrights, and it looks like this. And I think it is a decent match. It's not perfect. I think it's gonna be just fine. And then I got this Coates and Clark color, which I'm not sure the exact color of this. Let me actually scan it in my Walmart app. Okay, so this apparently is the color olive, and I think olive is going to be a little bit better than the bronze green because this one's a little bit lighter. Okay, I've loaded my thread, or at least put it up there, and then I made my bobbin to match. I just did it on my sewing machine. Sometimes I make my bobbins on my embroidery machine because it's a little bit better that way. But I went ahead and started pinning my bias tape onto my pocket, and so I'm just going to sew in the ditch to start, and then I left this open because I'm going to try and miter the corners as best as I can. All right, I got my sewing glasses, ASWG, always sew with glasses. Because we were doing some cleaning stuff and I just kind of got a little bit carried away with that. I just sewed both the pockets. I could not figure out the bias tape folding it in the corner thing. So I did just kind of, you know, go for it with doing the top separate, which I think is going to be fine because it's going to be a little bit of a guide for me when sewing these onto the jacket of like, this is where I need to stop sewing, if that makes sense. So I think they look really cute, and I Honestly, I'm not sure what's next because I want to say the next step was supposed to be doing the front panel, like both of the panels together, but you know, if you remember, I cut it in one piece. Oh, okay. So next is sewing the pockets on. That's easy enough. Okay, so let me get that lined up here. Also been watching Alicia Marie's Vlogmas because I did finish Remy's Vlogmas. I've been watching Alicia's. Okay, wait, this must be the back. Okay, yeah, those two are the same. But anyway, her Vlogmas is so good, and so is Remy's. I just kind of placed it here to get a guide, and then I'm gonna actually measure it, making sure I get this in the exact correct spot. What's crazy is that, like, let's say I use 3 things of bias tape, that's $6 plus whatever tax, so let's call it $7. And then this quilt, I want to say was $4, I think. So, I mean, this is going to be an $11 jacket, plus the time I put into it. Oh, and I did buy the pattern, and the pattern was probably like $10. We'll call it like a $20 jacket. Hopefully I do a good job and do it justice, but regardless, even if I don't do it justice, it's a $20 jacket. So I can't complain too much, right? Finished one panel. It's taking me a lot longer than I expected just because I'm being as careful as I can, but this is looking so good. I love the pocket, and I feel like I just picked the perfect color for the bias tape because it's like a slight pop of color, but it's the same like tone. It's not perfect, but I wouldn't expect it to be as someone who's not the best at sewing but is learning. So now I'm gonna sew the other one, but I might not get to finish it till tomorrow because I'm going to need bias tape and I have stuff to do today already. I'm not sure how I wanted this video structure to go, but I feel like I'm just kind of checking in and telling you what I'm doing and then showing you. And the next part is to put right sides together of the back panels and sew that in place. And I'm just using a 3/8 seam allowance, and then I believe you do like a bias band finish. Okay, we sewed the back, and then you just do the bias band on here just to cover the raw edge, and I love the look of it. Now it says to press the bias band at the end, and I'm not sure if you like press it flat or you press it to the side. I need to kind of watch the video and see. It's nice because the person who makes these patterns does a written pattern and then a video, which is very helpful for me because sometimes I can read something and not like visualize it, especially for a project. All right, so now we're gonna sew the bias band on, and I will show you what it looks like once it's done. So for the bias band, all you do, I don't know if I showed this earlier, but you just line it up with the short side first. So the short side goes against your fabric like this, and then you just sew in this crease here that's already made. This is a double fold bias band, 1/2 inch, I believe. And then once you sew that, then you just fold it over. Actually, let me sew this and then I'll show you. Okay, now let me show you what I mean with the bias band. So you can see that I sewed right there, and now it is attached to the fabric. And so what you do is you take it, I'm gonna flip it over. We are going to take this, fold it over, fold this piece over, and then that is what you sew down. And then the other side ends up looking like this, and then you get a nice clean finish. I usually just kind of start in the middle just to get a guide, and then I just work my way to each end. Okay, I showered, so ignore my appearance, but I wanted to give my hair time to dry because I'm just gonna wear it natural tonight. Anyway, I'm back to working on this, and so we finished the whole back panel, except the only thing is I can't get this to lie flat. Oh, maybe I'm supposed to press it that way. Oh shoot, how did that happen? I just realized an error in the back. Well, we're gonna have to fix that for sure. Okay, I fixed the back like a responsible sewer, and now I am pinning the front panel to the back panel, and you're supposed to sew the top first. But I just want to sit here and like finish it, but I have that cleaning stuff I need to do. And Chance was amazing and did all of the mopping today. Today was like a mopping the floors day, and he did all of that. So I did not have to, which again, his responsibility as a house owner, but still he did all that. Anyway, I need to stop yapping and get to sewing. Starting to look like a piece of clothing. I just stitched that, and then I think I'm gonna go grab my overlock foot, and this is a good time to teach myself how to overlock this. Okay, I switched to my overcast foot and my little huge thing of presser feet that I ordered from Amazon that I'm excited to eventually learn all of them. How this goes. I'm not sure exactly where to press the fabric in. We're just gonna kind of go for it. Okay, but you know what would help is if the thread decides to stay. Wait, it's working. Oh my god, that is so cool. Wow, that was so cool. Look at that. It like overlocks the edge. Obviously I missed some of the fabric here, but I don't think it's gonna fray that much. Very cool. Okay, I do understand why people want to do the whole overlocking. It did come loose. All right, I'm gonna try and go back over it one more time to get these loose ones. Ah, that looks so good. Okay, I'm gonna switch out from this and switch over to my other foot and sew that, probably do the other side, and then that might be where we stop today. Okay, I laid it out to kind of visualize what it's looking like so far, and I think we're definitely done for the day. But it's looking so good. I'm so excited. I can't wait to finish it. Like I said, I wish I had the rest of the night to just like finish it, but that's okay because I'm excited. We've got some fun plans. Hello and good morning. It is the next day. I'm still in my pajamas, but I just came downstairs to get started on sewing, just to try and finish this. I am gonna have to go to the store and get some more bias tape, I believe. I think next is the sleeve cuff. So I've got it laid out. I just need to look at the pattern, see if I remembered correctly. I went upstairs and did my skincare and put some earrings in, and I feel a little bit more put together. But I also had to get my sewing glasses, so that's why I went ahead and did all that. Let's go back to sewing. Okay, so the sleeve is taking me a little bit longer than I expected, but I went off script a little bit, so let me explain. So you have to, for the sleeve, it calls for the cuff is attached with a bias band, and I could not, first of all, the bias band, I had to sew down a couple different times because I couldn't get it like all the way sewn, and so it's finally down, and then I could not get it to lay flat when I pressed it, just like I can't get the back piece to lay flat, and so I was like, I'm just gonna add a top stitch, and now it is laying flat, and I'm loving the way it looks. I just think it looks so much better. I just kind of did the same type of top stitch that you do for the pocket, and I think this is looking really nice. So now I think you just add a bias band piece here, and then I think the sleeve is done. So I'm going to do that, and then I will work on the other sleeve. And then I believe after that, all that's left is to really just like assemble everything. And see, this is what the sleeve is gonna look like. See, I love the cuff look with the bias band, and now that it's laying flat, I just feel like it looks so much better. So I think I'm gonna do that to the back as well. See how this back piece is not laying flat, and I cannot get it to lay flat. And I also think it's just gonna help with like the security of the jacket. I should be able to finish this today though. We're kind of like on the home stretch. I'm gonna try and like grind it out. I might make myself a coffee, but I'm gonna tell myself I can't make myself a coffee until I finish both sleeves. Okay, I finished these sleeves. I'm pretty pleased with how they turned out. And now we are going to try and sew everything together. And essentially you have to just like kind of lay this right side out. And then these, sorry the lighting's gonna be a little bit weird because the sun is coming in. I could change it, but I also love the sunshine. Essentially, it looks like you take wrong sides together. Okay, yeah, so the sleeves do have bias tape around them. And we're gonna pin all of this. Definitely thought I was gonna be done with this by now, but I am taking my time to really learn how to do this because I want it to turn out well. That's gonna be right. I am going to go ahead and do this back piece real quick. We are sewing on the sleeve. I need to charge my camera. I'm gonna do this real quick and see if it works. Okay, this is what we are looking like so far. So now I think what's next is to sew this together and this together to make the actual jacket, and I honestly like without the collar, but I think I will like it more with the collar, but I might pin it and kind of look at it. But it is starting to form a jacket shape, and so far I'm doing it right, knock on wood. But next I think to sew the inside, and we position this. So we're going to now sew pretty much like an L. Let me show you. So the jacket is obviously inside out, and now essentially we just sew like L shape to finish off that part of the jacket. And then it's almost done. Time to sew. I have a little helper. He loves to sit in the sun. So the garage is under me, so that's why it's so loud right now. The problem with this fabric is it gathers a lot because there's so many layers with the quilt. Seems not exactly matched up, but you know what? I don't really care. Okay, before I overlock, I want to try it on and see. So they don't match up perfect, as you can see. Honestly, like, you can't really tell. Like when I'm wearing it, like no one's gonna be really looking at that spot. And then same thing here, it doesn't line up perfectly, but like it's good enough. I'm really proud of it so far. So now I just need to do this side. Okay, so I have on the jacket and I'm trying to plan the collar right now. So the collar calls for like the bias tape, like where you do this with it to attach it. I don't know if I want it to attach that way. Don't know if it will have enough structure to sit up if I don't use the bias tape. The Free People jacket that I'm basing it off of does not have the bias tape at the collar, so I think I'm not gonna do that. And I'm gonna kind of stray from the pattern a little bit. Moment of truth. Okay, there we go. All right, now I just need to finish with bias tape. And then I'm done. Yeah, I literally maybe have like 2 feet of bias tape. Sorry for my appearance in this video. Okay, little update. I got the bias tape and I've sat here and just pinned it. And now I'm going to sew it on. I'm in my little papasan chair. So I've pinned all the way around. And so I just have to sew that inseam, not inseam, what's it called? I have to just sew on that line, and then I fold it over and then sew it and top stitch it, and then I am done. Guys, I finished it and it's so cute. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, but I just wanted to try it on like as soon as I finish, just to make sure everything looks fine. But it is so cute. I'm literally obsessed with it. So it is like cropped, you know, it's like a cropped boxy jacket. So obviously if you want it longer, you can make it longer, but I wanted it cropped. Oh my gosh, I love it. I think Barry's likes it too. Okay, I came in the bathroom so you can see, and I feel like it's perfect. I love the collar. Ended up turning out really well because I didn't want the collar to go down like this. I wanted it to stay up, and the way she designed it is actually perfect. So it looks like a Free People jacket, and it's very light jacket, but like since it's quilted, it does feel cozy. So I feel like it will be perfect for like the spring and stuff.